Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am so excited today because my guest today is Andrea Haley Shankaran, and we will be talking, of course, about food. But it's not always what and when you eat that matters the most, but rather it's how. And so our title today is How to Eat Healthier Without Feeling Deprived, which is something I'm passionate about because I don't want to be deprived and I want to be healthy as long as possible. And I want to feel joy when I'm eating. So today, Andrea will really offer you empowering and transformative mindset around food, around cooking, how she does it, and really leave you with feeling inspired. I'm really looking forward to myself and really change your habits and so you want to eat, live, and feel better. So I'm really happy to have you here, Andrea. And we have conversation before, and I would love if you can just tell our listeners a little bit about yourself before we start the conversation.
Yeah. First of all, thank you so much for having me here. And I think both of us, went through some hoops to make this happen. And I'm glad that it's finally happening today. So thank you. Yeah. I'm Andrea Haley Shankaran. I was fortunate enough to pick up a book in a bookstore long before, computers took over the world. And it was called A Life of Balance. And it was about an Ayurvedic approach to diet, to living. It introduced me to this connection between our food and nature and the divine. And that resonated with me because I'm a nature girl. And I was inspired by this to cook, just to start cooking the simple recipes that were in the book. And I was looking for solutions. I was riddled with stress and anxiety and confusion about how to make my way in the world. Remember, I was like 21 years old, and I really didn't know what to do with myself. And and cooking was what presented, and so I did this, and I soon realized that the food that I made for myself was special. It was very different from the other food that I'd been eating. And to be honest with you, I can't remember a single thing that I cooked before then. I was not a cook. I didn't learn how to cook from my mom. My mom didn't enjoy cooking. So this was new. And I noticed that when I was eating, I was feeling very different. And I also noticed this sense of self love. It was almost, it wasn't like cooking was an act of self love. I actually noticed it after. Oh, I'm actually loving on myself when I'm doing this. And that feels amazing. So I went through this process of self discovery, actually, and connection to self and to nature through food. And fast forward 25 years later, I became a professional cook. I worked in restaurants for 7 years, food industry beyond that. Then I got a master's in journalism because when I always wanted to, be a chef and I wanted to be an author. So I had a deep, I know, and it
Perfect.
actually manifested
Yeah.
a deep desire to communicate. And so these days, I create courses and protocols and trainings, and I do coaching mostly with women, but in my next program I actually have two men. I'm really excited. And I teach them and I empower them with the wisdom of Ayurveda and with
Mhm.
a transformative approach to cooking and to taking care of themselves, to take control over their health,
Mhm.
food as medicine, to
Mhm.
discover their perfect diet and lifestyle habits, that allow them to live a life of ease and flow, and really support their health goals.
Mhm. No, I love that. And when you said that it's like you discover the self-care, I think cooking is kind of self-care because we go to the hairdresser, we're going for nails, we're going to, but it's all on outside and we take care on the inside. Like we have to prepare a good source of food and as well the liquids and everything. So I love that, and I completely agree. And so, we know that the gut is really closely connected with central nervous system through the dynamic bidirectional actually communication along with the gut brain axis. And you mentioned that you start cooking as a way to manage anxiety and stress. So can you tell us more details? What exactly was it about the cooking that really helped you? Because I'm sure in our communities there are people that are stressed. I mean, who is not stressed these days? And as well, anxiety, we can really manage a lot with whatever food we eat. Either, yeah, we can definitely manage. So what was it for you, and how we can, how you can give us some inspiration around that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, there's a few dimensions to this. And I think the first one was, what I started to share there, just the very act of cooking as a self care, as something is that you're doing out of self love. There's an element of self respect because you're taking the time
Mm-hmm.
to find good food. You're taking the time to prepare the food. You're
Mm-hmm.
taking the time to prepare it in a way that it's
Mm-hmm.
visually and appealing to your senses, and then you're sitting down and you're eating it. So this is already calming, very, very
Mm-hmm.
calming to mind and body. And it's giving, it's nurturing yourself with all the right things, right? So often we don't do the self-care because we actually don't think we deserve it, right? We have this these unconscious beliefs within that are actually blocking us from doing the things that would actually help us. And so, what I love about cooking is that it's available to us every day, like all day long,
Mm-hmm.
3 times a day, every hour, every minute, we get to make these decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Just one decision, right, to do something nurturing and nourishing can immediately calm the mind and body. So that's the one piece. There's also very, physical and tangible reasons why cooking in this way. And remember, in the introduction, you said it's not the what, but it's the how. So
Mm-hmm.
when you're putting thought and mindfulness into your food preparation and your cooking, that itself is relaxing the nervous system and it's calming you down. So there's a piece here of that has to do with the vagus nerve. I'm sure you've heard about the vagus nerve. Yeah, it's the largest cranial nerve in the body, and it's basically the mediator between mind and body. And so if we are busy and stressed, right, and we're approaching our cooking just to get it done, right, just to find some food and eat it, right, we're not allowing ourselves to relax. We're not relaxing our vagus nerve. And so we're actually in this fight or flight mode.
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting about, okay, because the vagus nerve activates rest and digest. So
Mm-hmm.
there's these two, states of the nervous system, and this is where we get to the real physical side. Um, okay, it's like a switch. These two states are like a switch. So just imagine if you're in fight or flight, you're not in rest and digest. And
Mm-hmm.
when you're in fight or flight, your blood is circulating throughout the body. It's at your extremities, in your skin, and not in your stomach where it needs to be for digestion.
Mm-hmm.
So
Because we need to run quickly, right? We have to like be mobile. So.
and your digestion literally shuts down because, like
Mhm.
you said, if you're going to run quickly and be mobile, your digestion's a hog. Your digestion's an energy hog. It takes
Mhm.
about 60% of your daily energy to digest your food. So it's going to sacrifice that. You're going to be running. And so that, think of it like a switch or think of it like a shutdown. So when you're in that state, you're not going to be able to digest your food.
Mhm.
So you spend the money, you put in the time, you have this organic food, and then you're not actually able to digest, absorb,
Mhm.
and assimilate it. And even worse, it's causing indigestion, which is
Mhm.
the biggest source of toxins. And now you have to deal with that. And so
Mhm.
you really need to cut that cycle and focus on, breathing and
Mhm.
mindfulness and being present and being calm,
Mhm.
not just when you're eating, but through the food preparation, because
Mhm.
that prepares you for the eating part. And this can transform stress and anxiety because now you've eaten a well-prepared meal and you're feeling the nutrition and the nourishment, and that
Mhm.
becomes a foundation. You've taken a break as well, and so now you've got this break and this foundation and this nourishment to then get up and get back to your
Mhm.
busy day and be highly productive.
I love it. And you remind me now something. So we discussed that, I love the family constellation works, and we were talking about it. And the teacher always says, like, how good is the food from your mom? It's always the best
Yes.
because the mom, so he's like, he show it on the bread, which obviously with
Yeah.
our circumstances, not, but let's say a good bread, which is okay, right? With the whole grain. He
Yeah.
says, so it's the bread, but before you put the butter, it's love. And then it's the butter.
Nice.
And then it's the other stuff. And it's exactly how it's the energy we put in. And I mean, I am really calm if I know that when I come back from busy day home, it's something in the fridge that I pre-prepared,
Yep.
or that I know, because I mean, I have feed the kids, and as well when they eat, it's like no iPad. We have proper
Mm,
eating.
good.
Because it's all, as you're saying, it's all connected. And the preparation, when you're salivating, when you're smelling the food and
Yep.
slowly preparing, is just every little step is so important. And majority of us, we don't do that. We're eating quickly by the computer or someone standing. I remember I used to eat always in a tram after a busy day in
Yeah.
work. Just
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah.
So if we can just do little tiny steps, like you suggest, it will be wonderful.
Mm.
um yeah, but very often we can just fall off the wagon, and we are not really consistent. It's really hard for people, which is
Mhm.
hard as well in my community, because very often people say, well, I don't have time to do it, it's very hard for me. And so why do we constantly fall off the wagon? Do you have some magic answer, or
Yeah.
magic wand?
Yeah. I actually I actually do polling in my community about what the biggest challenge is to
Mhm.
keeping up daily cooking.
Okay,
Because
we can
I'm
do that too then here.
yeah, I'm all about that, right? And
Okay.
you might be surprised to learn that lack of time is actually not the biggest challenge.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. The biggest challenge is more not knowing what to cook, like not
Mhm.
knowing what to prepare, and also not enjoying the food that
Mhm.
that is prepared. Like, that's terrible, right? You're gonna put in the effort
Yeah.
to make food, and then you're not actually enjoying it.
Mhm.
So, that's actually I mean, the topic today is how to eat healthier without feeling deprived, and
Mhm.
another way
Mhm.
of saying that is how to eat healthier and enjoy your food.
Mhm.
That's what I am all about. So, it's that's the first problem, right? Is healthy food is perceived as boring and we
Mhm.
feel deprived, so we're not motivated. So we need to learn how to cook healthier food that is actually satisfying and something that we want to eat. So there are some skills, right? I'm not going to lie. You have to put in a little effort to learn, right? Learn some
Mhm.
simple recipes that taste good and, spices. I know you're all about spices too, Dr. Radha. Learn to use some spices, right? And it doesn't have to be spicy, but more flavorful. And
Mhm.
the use of the spices it isn't just for flavor. They actually play a very important role in
Mhm.
supporting digestion. So
Mhm.
this is another big problem, right? When we don't know what to cook, we also don't know what to combine. We're
Mhm.
probably also cooking things that are kind of coming into our body like lead, like it's sitting in the stomach like lead, or you're feeling heavy, or maybe you're feeling too light, right? So you're not having the right combinations to actually nourish you specifically.
Mhm.
And so the spices add what I call digestive support. And
Mhm.
they also add a sense of intelligence. They're actually assisting your body to carry out a very complex process that is digestion. And so there's a big difference between, eating food that's plain and eating food with a little bit of spice. And the difference is how you feel after you eat your food,
Mm,
right? So there's
mm,
some skill in there, there's some technique. It's not difficult, but it can make all the difference. Now you can make vegetables taste amazing. And I'm going to give you an example. So I said vegetables. I wanted to say like carrots, for example.
mhm,
You can steam carrots and go, okay, I got a carrot. Or you can add a little bit of ghee into your skillet,
mhm,
sizzle in some coriander powder and
mhm,
maybe a pinch of turmeric or black pepper. Now add your carrots, chop
mhm,
it up, add a little bit of water, put a lid on that, and just kind of braise in there with the ghee and the spices and the bit of water
mhm.
until the carrots are cooked. Now look at the difference. Do you
Yeah,
eat
delicious.
carrot, right? You
Yeah,
want to eat that.
delicious. Yeah. I know, yeah, exactly. And that's the knowledge that people need to
No.
hear, that it's possible. And I know that, yeah, like it's and there's some comment like not enjoying healthy food is massive to people who have weight to lose. They live constantly, exactly. But I want to tell you, whoever, I can't see who posed this, but I just want to tell you that the point that we're missing is that we can lose weight when we eat. It's just
Oh,
depending what we eat. So if we eat processed food, of course, we will eat just empty calories, and we just like, it's not only calories. Like, I don't want to talk about calories here, but it's nutrition that we need, and we can lose weight and be satisfied
mm,
and not be hungry. So we
mm.
have it all wrong. And so, but Andrea, you are really your specialty is Ayurveda. So can you tell us more about Ayurveda? Whatever you think is important, because it's big topic. But I love Ayurveda. I told you my spices collection, and we know actually from studies they were having comparing people who had the same meal but
Yep.
with spices and without spices,
Oh,
and they
wow.
could see that they have a lower inflammatory markers. Those people who have spices. So all these wisdom that we have thousands years ago from Ayurveda, they knew it by living. So and now the science catching up, and we know that actually we should be using spices. Not exactly, not spicy food like cayenne pepper, which is good as well, but spices like herbs and
Mhm.
like dry. And so tell us more about Ayurveda and
Yeah.
whatever you think it's we can cover here.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I'm really glad you brought up spices as in herbs, etc. So, if you think about any culture, spices are there, right? Most people, when they
Mhm,
think spices, they think Indian food. Most people, when they think Ayurveda, they think Indian food. But that is not the case. So, what I teach people when it comes to the use of spices, and that's just one thing, but really it's about how to use your food as medicine.
mhm,
And Ayurveda is a traditional system of healthcare. It originated in ancient India. But I think the important thing about it is, what is its meaning? So,
mhm,
Ayurveda, it means the knowledge of life or the science of life. And it's really just the knowledge of how to live a good, healthy life. And, there is this personalization piece because, all food is medicine, but the question is it medicine for you? Because different foods, support different
mhm,
things. Like some people need to gain weight, some people need to lose weight.
mhm,
Some people are well hydrated, some people aren't. Some people are dealing with inflammation. Some people are dealing with congestion. So we can use different foods to support these different conditions by restoring balance. So when we say heavy or weight, that's actually a form of imbalance. And in Ayurveda, we kind of define, disease. I'm not saying weight is a disease, but we define um, excess of something as, as a disease
mhm,
in a way like that. That's the marker. And if it's heavy, then we want to apply light things to balance it out. So this ancient science is actually extremely simple. It's extremely accessible to people. And it's not just food, it's also lifestyle practices. So
Mhm.
I actually teach a program. It's called Happy Eater. It's my signature program that teaches people everything that we've been talking about today about how to eat healthier without feeling deprived, how to use the spices, how to create balance in your dishes so that you feel exceptionally satisfied, so
Mhm.
that you're nourished, body, mind, and spirit from your food. And then finding breakfast, lunch, and supper solutions, but then along the way, setting up your daily routine. Because daily routine, meal routine, regularity is actually the key, to everything. It's the key to health.
Mhm.
So you can just imagine this program called Happy Eater. It encompasses all of that, and will really give a person a fantastic sense of what it's like to cook and live, Ayurvedically.
Mhm.
And it is a kind of lifestyle. And, I think it's a very empowering lifestyle because along the way, you're experimenting with the knowledge and you're noticing how that makes you feel. And then you're making adjustments. And so Ayurveda isn't about, rules. And I think that's another thing that gets people down a lot, right? When you make all these
Yeah.
rules,
Mhm.
then
Mhm.
people, mess up, right? They
Mhm.
make mistakes and they feel guilty. They feel terrible. It's like this downward
Mhm.
spiral. So with Ayurveda, and the way I teach, there's always a way to still have the foods that you love
Mhm.
because you can actually balance them out, right?
Mhm.
If it's a heavy food that you love and you're heavy, well, let's combine that with something lighter to make that heavy food something that's not as imbalancing for you. So there's always a way to make it work, and that's the beauty of like food as medicine and understanding this knowledge.
Yeah, I love this. And when you said that we have to be in balance, that's exactly. We like to create health and be in balance because it's like Goldilocks. We know that the antioxidant doesn't work. You can take as many supplements you want. If there will be too many, it will not bring you to the balance. So it's always like the balance that we're looking for. And I love. I post the link in the chat for everyone that want to explore this. I'm really intrigued. And I'm sure it's wonderful, and people really can learn. And so, what is it that you would like to mention? We have a little bit more time, and if where people can find you, especially, and what is it something that you want to add to our conversation? I mean, I love Ayurveda myself. I remember when I learned this type of cooking when we used to live in Germany. It's big there because there's a lot of teachers.
Mhm.
I sent this recipe to my sister, and her reaction was, "Oh, it's too many spices. I'm not cooking it." And so sometimes we having the mindset like, but actually the spices are healing for you. So more you add, the better it is. And actually, the taste, exactly as you're saying, the carrot can be boring for someone, or kale, or whatever vegetable. But if you put the spices, like I told you, my favorite one is is a fennel and pepper. And I
Mhm.
know my sister, she can't have raw pepper, but she could have this meal because it's cooked. And
Mhm.
because of the spices, it's
Mm.
completely changed the bio, how the pepper behaves. Yeah,
Yeah.
structure. So I love it. So what else can kind of inspire us? Because it's so much we can cover, but what you would pick as a one thing that um
Yeah. Yeah. So I think when it comes to Ayurveda, the first thing that a lot of people have heard about is this idea of the doshas, right?
mhm,
What is a dosha? So a dosha is a body type or a constitution, and there can be vata, pitta, or kapha. And
mhm,
so online, you can find quizzes to identify your dosha. And I have one on my website, which
mhm,
is Good Gut Ayurveda, goodgutayurveda.com. there on my homepage, I have a dosha quiz. And so people can go there and learn their dominant dosha.
Mm-hmm.
And once you learn that, you'll get some information about yourself, probably, because if you did the quiz right, you'll be like, wow, this is describing me. I'm light like a deer. I'm always, you know, um, bounding from one thing to the other. I love to be active. I love to be involved in things. And that is vata. Right. Or maybe you discover you're more like an A type personality. You're really passionate and focused, and you love to be productive and get things done. Right. That's pitta, which is the, more the fire element in your dosha. Or maybe you would like someone who enjoys stability and structure, right? You love your routines. You like to do the same things over and over again. You give the best hugs. You feel pretty good. You're pretty comfortable in life, right? And now I'm describing kapha, right?
Mm-hmm.
Satisfied, content. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the earth element.
Mm-hmm.
And so learning about this can be really valuable because this
Mm-hmm.
earth element, kapha type, is completely opposite from vata.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're vata, you need more kapha. If
Mm-hmm.
you're kapha, you need more vata in your life. And so, it's an energetic science. And so you learn about the energies, and then you can pick up just one thing, one thing that you can do to bring more balance into your life. So I highly recommend, doing a dosha quiz and getting some recommendations
Mm-hmm.
for your dosha, and trying it out. Like I said, Ayurveda is about experimentation, and
Mm-hmm.
nothing changes if you don't take some action.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing I can share is, my website, butteredveg.com, is my
Mm-hmm.
blog, and I have a lot of recipes there. And I've designed all my recipes to be balanced. And
Mm-hmm.
if you read the content in the recipes, I often talk about, balancing factors and different tastes, and,
Mm-hmm.
what might be good for this type of person or that type of person. So if you're, motivated, you're like, okay, Andrea's inspired me, I want to cook something, then
Mm-hmm.
I encourage you to go to my website and find
Mm-hmm.
one recipe and really give it a try. Apply the mindfulness, stay calm, give yourself time to prepare that food and eat that food, and just really tune into and notice the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
let that good feeling, right? That noticing, let that be
Mm-hmm.
inspiration for
Mm-hmm.
next, uh,
Mm-hmm.
your next cooking,
Mm-hmm.
your next thing.
So wonderful, so wonderful. Yeah,
Mhm.
I love that, and so I hope everybody here feeling inspired now. Explore. I put a link in the chat, so have a look at the Happy Eater. It's a 6-week course, and maybe Andra, if you can please as well now put your website and everything, or when we finish, you can do it as well. It will be in the Facebook group, so people can really find you and don't not miss anything. But when the program starts,
Oh my gosh, yes.
right? We have to talk about that too. Like they don't have much time. They have to
No,
decide
that's true.
the
Okay,
best
guys, if
decision.
if I've inspired you today, if I've intrigued you today, then definitely take a look at Dr. Radka's link, which goes to the Happy Eater program page. The program is starting tomorrow, February the 7th, so in case you're watching the replay. Now, if you're watching this after February the 7th, you can still easily join and catch up. So you will have missed one live class.
Mhm,
Everything is recorded, and
mhm,
you would have immediate access to catch up. And I don't
mhm,
think you'll miss, the first class
mhm,
is a little bit introductory. So don't hesitate. Another thing you should know, that if you have questions, because a lot of people do, about this program, they have special dietary concerns or things that they're dealing with and they're not sure if this is something that can really help. If that's you, but you're interested, then I encourage you to click on that page. You'll find a link to schedule a chat with me.
mhm,
It's a 20-minute chat, and we get on the phone and I'm really happy to have those chats. I love those chats. So don't hesitate if you want to learn more about Ayurveda or
Yeah.
Happy Eater.
Wonderful. Maybe put the link for the chat as well so that,
I will.
it's
I'll
there.
come back. It looks
Um,
like I'm not able to add comments right now, but I'll
oh,
go into
really?
the group and I'll
Oh,
add
okay.
all those.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe in the group. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andrea. This was, I think, more than we could actually imagine, because you picked the most important from Ayurveda. And I think the cooking, as I said, you can have tons of books in the bookshelf, yoga books, and you don't need to be yogi if you don't practice the
Mm,
yoga. So
mhm,
we have to cook. We have to cook with love. We have to put the energy, because it's a self-care. It's something that nourishes us,
mhm,
because that brings health, brings balance, the homeostasis that we want. Because every time we have symptoms and we at the end develop disease, it's out, we are out of balance. And so this is why we're having these conversations.
yeah,
And Andrea definitely can bring you close to the balance, closer to the place that we want to be, because with food we can either can help to create health on or create disease. That's nothing new. I think everybody in this community know this, because I'm talking about it all the time. So I would encourage everyone to really learn how to cook these delicious meals. And thank you for being here with us.
you're
Any last word you want to say?
just yeah, no, just a huge thank you. And maybe just one thing, like just to
Mhm.
encourage people, back to the stress and the anxiety and maybe the confusion, the feeling lost, right? If anyone's feeling like that at any time, cooking is a wonderful thing that you can do for yourself in that moment, right? To nourish yourself. And I just want to say that that got me through a lot of very difficult times because when you don't know what to do, right? At least you know that cooking good food for yourself is a good thing to do, right? No question. It's always a good thing to do, no matter what. So problem solved, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to help myself. I don't know what. Just cook something nourishing. Just let that be the thing that you do, right? And that's going to get you really far.
Yeah, you can try the carrot. It's like it's that simple.
Yeah.
I really, my favorite is the fennel, and I do it like every second week. It's just I love it. So I do the carrots too. Actually, kids love the carrot, and you need the fat, because the fat
Yes.
will for the vitamin A. So it's like pointless to eat carrot raw. But we eat both. We need both. But so
Right.
it's all, there's always a reason why we're preparing the way we're preparing. Thank you, Andrea, again. It was lovely. We are now inspired. You empower people, and please click the link, discover what you can learn, and maybe we can repeat this conversation again soon.
Anytime. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you. Bye. Bye, everybody.